Hi everybody. I guess this is me late night. Okay. Okay, I want to talk about two movies I've seen recently. I'm gonna make a video about one, and then I'm gonna make a video about the other one. All right. And I'm doing this in chronological order. All right. So, uh, it's kind of interesting. I come across movies I haven't seen before at all. But then I look at when they were made, and then I'm like, oh, I know why I didn't see that at the time because I was way too young for it. Okay. So the movie is called A Strange Affair, like in my title. It was made in 1991. It stars Judith Light, Jay Thomas, and William Russ. Okay, and I know all these people for different reasons, all from TV shows, but it's really interesting because Judith Light I know from Who's the Boss and later on Law and Order SVU, and then William Russ I know from Boy Meets World, and Jay Thomas I know from I used to see him in a lot of things, a lot of different things. He always had a quirky sense of humor, so I always enjoyed that. Okay. So, Judith Light is a very big advocate for a lot of things. She used to do a lot of movies of the week. And the thing about movies of the week is they would take stars from different shows or things, and then it was always topical and always had a message at the end. And her usual movies were about people with disabilities. I I promise I didn't try to do this on purpose. It just happens that way. I saw another movie um, about a little boy who had spinal problems, and then she had to get her son the surgeries and things. So yeah. Um, And this one is a little different, but not too much. Um, Jay Thomas plays her husband, and I like this movie on two fronts, and I'll explain why. Um, and William Russ plays I guess they call it the second banana. I'm sorry, I'm used to comedy, so, but like the other guy. And just to clarify, usually in movies, the second guy doesn't get the woman, but this is a different story. Okay, so spoiler alert in case you want to watch this, because I'm going to ruin it, but I feel like I have to explain the whole thing, so you'll understand why. Okay. So she plays a woman married to a guy for a long time, like over 20 years. And you find out really early that he's the dreamer of the relationship and she's the working, pays the bills, logical, whatever one. It's always like that, unless you do find people who tend to be like-minded, but rarely. So okay. But she's tired of him having dreams and them not coming to fruition. And then also coupled with apparently he had cheated in the past a few times. And also he had a gambling problem. He would gamble a lot of money all the time. And the reason you know this is within the first 5 minutes, you see a guy come into a restaurant she works for as a chef and looking for money to pay off his bets or something. So I'm like, okay, okay. So I already have the script in my head of okay, well, he's cheating on her, used her money, all the things. So she's gonna file for divorce, and that'll be the end of it. But then, if I can figure out the conclusion in 5 minutes, what's the point of the movie? So I'm like, okay, just give it a shot. Well, it turns out that Jay Thomas, uh, as soon as she says, I'm done, and she threatens to leave, she leaves. And as soon as she walks out of the house that night, he had a he has in the movie a debilitating stroke, which causes him to lose most of his daily functions. And what I mean by that is walking, eating. He can still talk, but he's basically become a person who needs help 24/7 overnight. So then you think to yourself, okay, what's she gonna do? Is she gonna leave him, or is she gonna take care of him, or what? So she says, okay. So she has a talk with him, and I mean it's a real talk. She says, look, I'm not in love with you anymore. Like, this is not that type of relationship, and I'm not gonna leave you now that you're really in need of somebody. I'm gonna help you out. But understand the relationship is not the same as it was before. And I'm like, okay, I get that. So, in the midst of all this, um, and I kind of imagine it in my mind as all this is happening in the same week. Okay? So, you find out your husband's doing all that. You're going to plan to leave him, but then the same week, he has a stroke, so then that changes everything. And then you have car trouble, right? So what do you do when you have car trouble? You could take it to the mechanic. Problem is, aha, this is where the third person comes in here. All right, William Russ plays the mechanic, and she's all, you know, I can't pay you right now, but I'll pay you in installments. I promise I'll pay you. And so you think, okay, he's doing a good thing and just, trying to help her out. Little did I know that he had feelings for her probably from the word go, and I just didn't see it. I thought I went along with the thing. I'm like, okay, he's being nice to her. And then I got it within the second visit because I'm like, okay, I've heard of nice, but this is beyond nice. Okay, there's something else going on there, and I'm like, yep. And then here's the funny part. Okay, so she is still helping her ex-husband for all intents and purposes, right? But she's falling in love with this other guy. And so she does the most responsible thing, and she says, look, I'm not in the best situation here. I was gonna leave. I knew my husband was cheating on me, and I was gonna leave. But then this and that happened, and now I have to take care of him, and I'm not gonna leave him. And he says, William Russ's character says, I'm fine with that. Now, here's the problem. Her husband, because they're not divorced yet, and because at this point they'll probably not get divorced, you know, says, well, how dare you, and has an attitude of, how dare you go out on the marriage, and what are you doing? And she said, well, wait a minute, you went out on the marriage before I did, so what's the problem? And I'm like, all right. I don't, okay, I should have said this before, but I feel like I say it all the time anyway. I don't condone cheating whatsoever. But this is a different situation, so, you know. Okay. To explain the other thing that I like about this movie. Well, like I said, there's two things. Okay, the first thing I like about this movie is that the acting from all actors is great. Female and male. Okay? Number two, I like that just because something happened with the husband, she didn't leave him in the time of need. I like that. Number three, I like that they have the relationship where they're both smart. I am tired of seeing couples where one is really smart or the one who feels like she had to lower her standards. I'm not for that. I'm not for that. I've never been for that. I believe two smart people can be together. So I like that movie. I like this movie for that reason. Um, okay. And okay, so I don't spoil the whole movie. Um, all right. So he decides, the other guy, to sell his plane in order for the disabled to have an operation that saves his life for a little bit longer. Yeah. So, oh, and then also, just as an aside, I guess they have an adult children, but the adult children don't really play a major part, so that's why I overlooked them. I wasn't trying to overlook them. It's just they're not integral to the storyline. So, all right, bye everybody.